like part of my job as a teacher is to actually help them pinpoint that for themselves so that they can get the best benefit out of what it is that they're trying to learn.
Yeah, one of the I think that's all so well said, and I think one of the things that I really like to say in my class, and it's not original to me, but it's just like this is a practice, not a performance, right? And
Mm.
like it's okay to be wobbly, it's okay to fall out of tree pose. It's okay if you choose to keep your toes down on the floor and your foot, like it's okay. And so once we begin to like take away all of these expectations about what our yoga practice has to look like, and to be like, you can use a block, you can use a strap, you can use a chair. So I probably talk more in my in my yoga class. Speaking of teaching to adults, I probably talk more in
Yeah.
my yoga class than most teachers may. I don't know, but because it's like I want to let you know you have all these options available to you to execute it in whatever way feels right for you. So pull over that chair that's on the side of the room if that's what you feel like you need. Use a strap. Here, take this block. You don't have to be trying to do what you think yoga is supposed to be because it's what you've seen on the cover of a magazine or it's what you see on television. It's like it just needs to look like what works for you and your body, and that's going to be different for. So once you keep saying that, like you have to keep saying it, right? Um, and to let them know that you are also human. Like as yoga teachers, there's no perfection in us either. So I'm like, yeah, that was wobbly. Oh, I just did that. What if what? Oh, my bad, y'all. I said left. I meant right.
Got to breathe. Am I breathing?
Like, oh, yeah, right. Like, check myself. Okay, y'all. Yeah, so when you begin to connect in that way and maybe even bring some laughter into the yoga class where it's just like, all right, y'all, we're gonna turn over like I know I asked you to turn over before, but just imagine like rotisserie chicken. Like we just gonna roll around in here and it's like a buffet. Like take what you want, leave what you don't. Um, once you just keep saying that over and over again, it gives people permission and again empowers people to be like, I can do what I want to do in here. And that there shouldn't be any shame. And that's a lot of times what just constantly saying, like, just think about this without judgment, right? Because in our minds, we're always like, oh man, I didn't do that right. Oh man, I couldn't hold that pose. Oh, I came out this pose before everyone else did. But it's just like, just observe it. Like, just make a mental note and then just get back on track and just this critical voice. And so we have to pull in those principles of yoga like ahimsa, like talking about non-harm, which begins with ourselves. We think about nonviolence where it's always like, I'm not harming other people, I'm not violent towards other people or even animals. I'm a yoga teacher, so I'm vegan, I have to be all these things, but it's just like we speak to ourselves in ways that we would never speak to another human being oftentimes. And so once you encourage one to just be like, when that little critical voice comes up, and it's going to come up because it comes up for all of us. Like, just notice it, release it, and just keep going. Like, we don't have to like live in these spaces with these little criticisms that we're already and always giving to ourselves. So it's bringing in all of those elements of our practice to let people know it can be whatever you need it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you that have been listening to this show for a long time, you just echoed a lot of the same things that I said, the inner critics and the fear, the releasing judgment. Ooh, with the self-talk, it all starts with you. Every single thing that comes out of your mouth starts in your head. And we are the worst bullies to ourselves. I started crying when you said it's a practice, not a performance. I think that I don't, for some reason, the second you said it, I was thinking about all of the ways that I perform over practicing, the way that I do, what I'm doing, even now. And I was like, wow, you've been performing a lot, but you haven't
Yeah.
been practicing very much. And I think one of the things that's really important about that, especially for those of us who, use social media and are online a lot, either for our business, like most of my classes in my studio, they're all online, right? And so spend a lot of time in this online space, and we forget that we're real people just in a different environment, a virtual environment. But with that comes so much of the pressure and what we're supposed to look like, what we should be doing, how it is we should be showing up, and then how we should not be showing up, and those kinds of things, right? And I think that what you were talking about when you have someone in your class and they're feeling judgment about coming out of a pose too early, or feeling shame around using their tools like a strap or a block. I think a lot of that is force fed to us from our social media, from our online spaces. And I just really appreciate hearing you resonate the message that your tools are there to support you. Using a block or a strap doesn't mean you're any less of a practitioner than someone who isn't using them.
Yeah.
Being able to use a chair or use a wall, or take a child's pose instead of going into that next, upward, it doesn't matter. What matters is how you feel. And I think that goes back to kind of what you were talking about with the self-talk, right? We have so many emotions around these expectations and what we should be doing. And at the same time, with that emotion, we have this like social pressure. And then at the same time, I personally, in my experience with my clients, is that they question themselves so much. Why am I not this good yet? When am I going to be this good? How long do I have to do this before I'm good? And it's like, what's good? What, like, you're asking what's good? What is good? And
Right.
and I think that concept of that's performative, right? That's performative practicing of yoga, right? But actually practicing has the ability to make you feel in alignment, has the ability to make you feel connected, it has the ability to make you feel good about yourself. And when we start putting in all these wedges of, well, I have to use a block, so I'm not good, or I have to do that and I'm not good, or I had to take a rest, I need a sip of water, and it's like, all of those things are just your body reacting to what it is that you're doing. And it almost, when I hear things like this, it's almost like you're fighting a relationship with yourself, right? Like this relationship with yourself is you're feeding it right now. And instead of being like, I feel good about this, or I'm doing really well, or this feels good in my body, my muscles feel nice, you're like, could have been better, should have been better, like, why are you doing this? And it's like, what if you had a partner that talked to you like that? Would you stay with them? No, you wouldn't. So why do it to yourself, rather than experiencing the action as togetherness with yourself?
Right.